Hi guys. Okay, so I wanted to walk you through the note cards assignment for this week. This is something we're going to be working on, and I want you to hand them in so I can take a look at them. But I don't want you to stress about them too much because we will go over them next week as well. I'm really excited to work on this with you because this is the next really big step in getting ready to do your speech now that you have actually written out your essay. So, what is the point of making and using note cards when doing a speech? So, you're going to use them during your speech to help you remind you of what you plan to say. Okay. And it will become clear as I show you what they look like. They should be easy to read. You should use neat handwriting and not too many words if you're going to write them out by hand with physical note cards you have at home. If you don't have physical note cards at home, that's a-okay. I'm going to show you how to make them using Google Slides. And it might actually work out even better using Google Slides because then that way you're creating them online when you're going to be doing the speech online through Flipgrid anyway. So we'll walk through that too. And it's also important that they don't have too many words so that you can easily find your topic and the detail you're trying to discuss within your speech. Again, these points will make sense once you see how we write the note cards. All right, so how to make note cards. You are going to go through your speech and you're going to highlight any keywords or phrases in your typed speech that you know will help you to remember as you're going along. You will be writing out your introduction and conclusion word for word from your written essay. It's really nice that way so that you don't have to summarize your introduction and conclusion and accidentally miss your thesis or your preview statement. You write it out word for word onto the note card. You're going to write bullet points with keywords and phrases for the rest. So any of your topics, you're going to have the topic written out, and then you're going to have your you can see over here where they're talking about family that watch football together. Their favorite teams are the Cardinals and Vikings. They watch football together on Sundays. And then there's a prompt to remember a game in Arizona. Playing games, Monopoly, Yahtzee, Nintendo 64, likes to play Mario Kart with their brother. So you can see here, these are not full sentences. No complete sentences. You can see number 5 here. No complete sentences. But it will have details enough to help you remember. Okay. You're going to put your note cards in order and you need to number them. This is a really big deal because say you have your note cards in your hand and you drop them. Well, you're going to need to get them back together really quickly. You want to keep them in order when you're going to be doing your speech. And you're also going to want to include your visual aid. Now, we haven't talked much about the visual aid up till this point. And this is something we will cover more extensively, like what you should pick. But you need to make sure to include the prompt for your visual aid so that you can show it during that point, whether that's a picture or an item. You'll have your visual aid and show it at that point and your prompt will be in there. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that right now because I actually found these awesome note card lined, they look just like index cards for the Google Slides. So you can see I put my All About Me speech and my name on the front, and I want you, this will be, the All About Me speech part will be there, but I want you to put your name in place of mine because, again, you're going to be handing these in, and I would like to know whose is whose. Makes it a little easier. And you can see here that I wrote my introduction in here, and I broke it up by the sections. So you remember there's our attention catcher, and then we have our thesis statement, and then lastly, we have our preview where I list the 3 things that I'm going to tell you about. And I just bulleted them to make it easier for my eyes. You do whatever is easiest for you. Okay. So you can see that my speech is right here. This is my speech. You can see I took it word for word, my introduction, and put it on that note card. Literally copied and pasted it. Okay. And then when I came down to my first paragraph, I knew that I'm talking about my family. Okay. And then I'm talking first about my husband, Nathan. We've been married for 15 years. We met in college. And now I don't need to put met my husband in college through mutual friends, because the through mutual friends part is a part of the story, and it's something I'm going to remember. We were married in Duluth, Minnesota. Again, the part about Grace Salon Plaza will come with the story. It's not something that I need to remember and put in here, because it's going to be a part of my story. And then I'm going to continue on. I have my children, and then I'm going to have the details that I want to put in there. Veronica loves animals and creating art. Theodore is 9. He likes to play outside and play video games. Both of my kids were born in Michigan. So I'm just picking out the most important pieces that I need to remember, and that's what I put on my note card, okay? Now, I always encourage you to make sure that it's big enough for you to read. So I would even make this a little bigger. There we go. Okay, I needed to add some more here, and maybe I don't even need their ages in there, because I know how old my kids are. I can do that right off the top of my head, but I want to make sure that I include the information, some details so I don't forget them, like that I have 2 things: art and animals, video games and playing outside. I have Zora down here. She's an English spot rabbit. She's a rescue bunny, and she's 5 years old, we think. Now, I included the we think because I want to prompt myself to tell the story about how we don't know how old she is, and that the veterinarian told us that we'll know once she starts getting old enough to show signs of age. That's how it works with rabbits, because that's one of the interesting facts that I put in there. Now, the next one is going to be my hobbies, okay? So then if we go back to my All About Me speech here, I'll tell you about the hobbies I like to participate in during my free time, starting with my love of reading. Okay. I read all kinds of books. My favorite genre is memoir. And then I can put best memoir, and then I could put down Born or Crime: Stories from a South African Childhood by Trevor Noah. And again, when you're doing these here, you just can copy and paste it. So reading all kinds of books. I like memoir. Put down. But then I know that that's my favorite memoir that I read this year, because again, I wrote this. I know it's a part of my stories here. But then that way I have the title there so I don't forget it. And I'm going to keep going. I'm going to be putting in all of the information that I want to put in here. Oops. Wrong direction, you guys. Here we go. I like why lit. Akata Witch by my Nnendi Okorafor. That's my favorite one from last year. I like reading poetry. My favorite poet is Sharon Olds. And then I'm going to go into writing nonfiction stories. So, say memoir. And even make it shorter, I can do that. And then I can say YA lit, because even though it's young adult literature, I know what YA lit means. And then Akata Witch by, I believe I spelled her name right, but nope, I didn't. And then poetry, Sharon Olds. So that way I have my my details in here without overwhelming myself. And I have all of my information in here to remind myself of what I'm talking about. I know it seems silly, but it's really important to have that information in there. So nonfiction writing, and then what are the details in that one? I started writing them in college. My family's experiences. I like writing on the computer. And I just, whoops, sorry, you guys. And then I just keep going. I know this is getting long, so I'm not going to bore you guys going through every single one, but I wanted to show you how this works. Started in college, writing major, write family stories. Oops. Rural Minnesota and Canada. And then last one is write on computer, not by hand. So if you're noticing, you guys, I am not writing incomplete sentences. I'm only writing enough so that I can remember. And then it will prompt me to remember what I'm going to say in my speech, because you're not going to be saying your speech verbatim, which means word for word, as it is written. It's going to sound different than what is written in your essay. And that's okay. That's totally normal. So I want you guys to understand that you're going to do all three of these, and then you're going to have, just like the introduction, you're going to have the conclusion at the very end that you are going to have word for word typed out. And that is what your notes are going to look like, and that's what you need to submit to me this week. Okay? We're going to go over the how to write feedback during the Class Connect this week, and that's going to be really important. But there are going to be no other assignments besides getting your note cards done and handed in. And if you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. All right, you guys, thanks for your patience getting through this 12-minute video. You guys are rock stars, and I can't wait to read your note cards.